Number 6 Syracuse takes down number 4 Virginia in a wild game that combined for 35 goals. This game was played this past Saturday afternoon up in Syracuse. So this is how everything went down. The game started with Cormier and Shellenberger getting the first 2 goals to give the UVA a 2-0 advantage with about 10 minutes left in the first quarter.
3-0 against the Orange in his career for Virginia. And Lars Tiffany made it clear, he's our starter. That's the guy we're going to ride. Cavaliers push it in transition and open the scoring. Peyton Cormier.
The clear. He's a great passer. And Ben Ware, 44 in blue, triggers the transition with the long.
Connor Shellenberger, number 1 in blue. So good! Stings the corner!
And then came Mulé. He got a feed from Leo at the 8:32 mark to put the Orange on the board. It was 2-1 UVA.
Michael Leo going to work. Dumps it off on the doorstep. Cashed it in.
Ben Ware falls. He knows then Virginia's on red alert. They have to show. So Mulé's man comes upfield and leaves him on that backside, one-on-one with goalie Matthew Nunes. And when Christian Mulé's one-on-one with the goalie, as Uncle Ray would say, case closed.
But then UVA responded. They went up 4-1 with goals from Cormier and Ben Ware. So with 5 minutes left, they led 4-1 in the first quarter.
When Glory Days was going in the encore. That's the first mistake Virginia has made on offense today. They've been pretty good, and they win it back. Cormier, how good is he? Virginia saw it coming.
This is dangerous. Ware is legit.
And it goes in. Will Mark got a piece of it, but not enough.
Virginia, air traffic control. We mentioned the big bodies. Ben Ware scoops that up, takes it himself. That is Ben Ware coast to coast.
And here's a really cool thing that happened. From the 4:08 mark in the first period to the 10:57 mark in the second quarter, Syracuse scored 6 unanswered goals, with Hiltz starting off that rally.
Shellenberger, Cormier trying to win it back. Finally, Figueres digs it out for Syracuse, and now the Orange can run in transition.
It's a good check by Figueres on Shellenberger. He's got the matchup.
Hiltz spins his way free and scores!
I just want to look at some momentum plays here. We have a 4-2 Virginia lead, and they get a great look. But just look at this save right there. I mean, that look, Millen is 5 yards, and that's a great save. It's actually just a typical clear here. But we're going to see what speed does once Syracuse gets the ball over the midline. So here we go. Right here, Syracuse gains possession. And this is a speedy midfielder. If we look right here, he's about basically, if we're going by the football yardages, he's at the 47-yard line. And by the time he gets to the 35-yard line, he is 3 yards ahead of those 2 UVA defensemen. So that's just speed. The announcers were talking about it, and because of it, he runs through the entire team, scores 4-3, as opposed to it being potentially 5-2 with that Millen look. Other goals were netted by Wyatt Hoddle, Luke Roa, Leo, and Mulé finished it off.
Stevens, so much speed, sends it back.
Mark it down, him shooting with the right hand right here, because you can see the same torque and trajectory with the left hand. This time he plants his feet. He's got the torque, and he is not trigger shy. I thought from start to finish, the Irish dictated the tempo in that game.
Michael Leo, perfect.
Happen statistically as an assist. It could be just the initiator of the offense, where that first slide and passes is coming from. That's where Schutz has to be at his best.
Syracuse again!
On his goals, and then on that shot, he's shooting low. And I think Mark understands that.
Hiltz on the run!
To go after a goalie on the other end who is not making stops. Syracuse isn't helping.
If you're looking to take your lacrosse training to the next level, then make sure to visit my website, btb-lax.com. On there you can see a bunch of different programs I have there. Here's some footage from BTB LX Plus. Every program has tons of college level drills that players of any skill level can do. So just get out there, start falling on your phone or iPad or whatever, and start falling, becoming a better lacrosse player, and get after it. So then after that 6-goal run, we're looking at 7 for Syracuse. So then there were goals back and forth throughout the second quarter. And then with about 6:40 to go, Milne and Cormier netted back-to-back goals to cut the deficit to 8-7 Syracuse.
Okay, Milne.
Shellenberger always picks the perfect pass.
Because Shellenberger comes out of the pick. Look at all the white shirts. The eyes are on him to support him.
In 2 weeks. Great pass, Shellenberger, Cormier!
So Matthew Nunez didn't have a save in the first quarter, and his confidence must have been a little bit shaky because remember he got pulled in the Duke game. I have a video about that right here. But anyway, he went on to have 15 saves in the game, including 8 saves in the third quarter. So he rebounded big time for UVA. Syracuse responded from a goal from Matt Wright. He got a feed from Hiltz. All right, so here I just want to point out a situation in the clearing game for Syracuse and how they keep their long stick midi in the game to play some offense. So we're in transition here. We're still unsettled. Everybody's coming in, and we can identify the long pole right here. And as we can see, he stays in the game, and nobody's guarding him. He's got a stick up right here asking for the ball, which he does. He catches it and finishes it for a big goal by a long stick midi. But then Shellenberger scored consecutive goals to end the first half, and they went into halftime with the score tied 9-9.
When to push, when not to. And he's not a pulled-out type dodger, but
Shellenberger!
A midfielder. And it pays dividends late in his career, sweeping across. And that's not a typical turnover by Joey Spallina.
Cavaliers an opportunity to tie this game at 9. Shellenberger, he's feeling it!
Virginia opened up the second half by a goal from Millen.
The two teams that will begin their postseason push with this game.
And if you're Syracuse, you need to crowd him defensively. He's too fast from a straight.
The Orange then rebounded by scoring the next 4 goals to go up 13-10 with about 8:50 left in the third quarter.
Here's Luke Roa. He had a very strong first half for Syracuse. Hiltz, lefty! Syracuse back in front. He's writing another one. Back-to-back goals. Jake Stevens buries it. 2 goals in 13 seconds for Syracuse. And now we get a look at the best man-up unit in the country. 23 man-up goals on the year for the Orange. They are 1 for 1 today. Not a great angle there, but in perfect position.
Left and right. They just know how to play a rebound a lot better than an American-born player because of the second chances. Wow, that went off of Stevens' body. I thought originally Nunes made the stop. Ouch.
Did you give Stevens the assist?
And the game just started getting better and better. From that moment on, the Cavaliers netted off 3 consecutive goals to tie the score at 13-13, just shy into the fourth quarter. Those goals came from Millen, Joey Terenzi, and Cormier.
And now Virginia can run in transition. They've been great turning defense into offense today. Stolen from behind, Jake Stevens all over that one. And now it's the Orange who will run. Matt Wright, already a goal today, passes off, give and go, and Wright wasn't ready for it. Back and forth we go.
This guy can go to the rack, and they'll keep him on, too.
Picture perfect.
He likes to be a little different with his footwear. Walked over to Dick's this morning and picked up a pair.
Virginia kills the man up, goes down the field, and makes it a one-goal game.
All right, during the broadcast of this game, we also saw the announcers talk to Paul Gate, and he had this to say about practice to give you a little bit of motivation when you're practicing by yourself.
You know, Gary and I spent a lot of time outside of practice. You know, we took what the coaches let us have, freedom, and we ran with it. And we would not go home after practice like a lot of guys. We'd go in Manley Fieldhouse, beautiful goal. We'd go to Manley Fieldhouse and work on stuff that we learned as kids and tried to adapt it to the field game.
Yep.
I can remember that if the team were to happen to go down to M Street,
yeah,
they'd all get buses home.
Yep.
And Gary and I would run home.
That's amazing.
In the middle of winter.
It was the work ethic. It helps to be conditioned when you play fast like that, and I know your brother loves when it goes from one end to another.
But Christian Mulé responded with his third goal of the game to put Syracuse up 14-13. And what happened next? Yep, you guessed it. UVA scored 4 goals in a row to go up 17-14 with about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Those goals came from Will Corey and Shellenberger, also from Ryan Colsey.
Pushing the sport, inspiring those generations from the Powells, then it ended up being the Thompsons, now the Kavanaughs and players like that. It's just amazing.
Shellenberger, a perfect pass again. You can't do it any better. These two teams down the stretch here. Shaking free, Ryan Colsey.
Ryan is a high school attackman with a lot of box lacrosse background for an American. Sells the defense on the fake and then gets underneath of all time at the midfield position, not even just in Syracuse respect, but globally. Roy Colsey is a top 5 midfielder ever at Syracuse.
During the game, Shellenberger tallied his 300th career point. He now has 305 total career points, which is incredible. In terms of ACC career points, he currently sits third behind Duke's Justin Guttering, who has 351, and Matt Danowski, who has 353.
Syracuse defensive coordinator John O'Derna, only coach in the country that does this. His man down unit, 5 totally different players.
The concept, I love it. The buy-in of the week, making this their identity. I get it.
Virginia cashes in.
But the Orange didn't back down. In fact, they scored 4 unanswered goals in the next 7 minutes or so.
Sam English in attack mode. Can't shake free. Has to pass it off. Stevens. Exactly what Syracuse needed. Virginia clinging to a 2-goal lead. Hiltz. What a save by Nunes! But he spilled it. It stays with Syracuse. Nunes scurries back to his cage. And Hiltz with some high heat over the top. Syracuse has been excellent out of timeouts today. Trying to cut this lead in half with under 5:30 to play in regulation. Sam English goes to work. Passes off, perfectly placed.
Just under 2 minutes left. Billy Down had a behind-the-back shot that tied the score at 17-17 with 48 seconds on the clock.
Syracuse's defense delivers. Under 2 minutes to go. The Orange with an opportunity to tie it. Spinning free. What a Saved by Nunes. Ball's loose. It's back of the net to tie it at 17. It's a scoop.
The turnover late in the shot clock. Sam Alexo in transition. I don't know how Jake Stevens gets this off. The save by Matthew Nunes, amazing. The shot, ridiculous.
But with just under a minute left, Sam English found a hole in the defense to get it in the net, and they go up 18-17 in an absolute great lacrosse game.
Under a minute to go. English gets free and scores!
All right, so this is the last goal of the game for Syracuse, and I want to talk about closeouts because they talk about it all the time in basketball. In fact, I recently was listening to Coach K on his Beyond Basketball podcast with Danny Hurley, the head coach of UConn, and they had this to say about how important our closeouts are in basketball, and the same thing holds true in lacrosse. And as we can see here, we have 3 UVA defensemen all barreling out to this, nobody breaking down, nobody poke checking, nobody staying in front of the guy so that he's allowed to get to the middle of the field and score late into the game. And we can see it from another angle here. All these guys barreling out, not breaking down in the chaos of the final seconds of the game, allowing English to get to the middle of the field with his hands free for a game-winning shot. Goes to show you how important closeouts are in lacrosse, just like they are in basketball. UVA had an opportunity with just over 7 seconds left from Jack Boyden, but it was saved by Will Mark to give him his 15th save of the day.
37 seconds to avoid the back-to-back loss here. Shellenberger with 30 seconds left in regulation goes to work. Feeds Millen, dispossessed. Billy Dwan, who scored the goal to tie it at 17. Risky crossfield pass, and the goalie Nunes gives Virginia life. All Syracuse needed to do was hold the ball. Will mark the save. 3 seconds left. Syracuse survives. Goes to work. Feeds Millen. Dispossessed. Billy Dwan, who scored the goal to tie it at 17. Risky crossfield pass, and the goalie Nunes gives Virginia life. All Syracuse needed to do was hold the ball. Will mark the save.
Here's some fun facts about the game. The Dome was packed with over 8,000 people in attendance. Owen Hiltz led all Syracuse players with 3 goals and 5 assists for a total of 8 points. 2 other Syracuse players contributed with hat tricks, including Christian Mulé and Finn Thomson. And Syracuse also got strong contributions from Jake Stevens, Michael Leo, and Sam English. Virginia, as usually is the case, was led by Connor Shellenberger, who had 9 points with 4 goals and 5 assists. Peyton Cormier had 4 goals and 1 assist, while the freshman McCabe Millen had 3 goals and 2 assists for a total of 5 points in this game. Will Mark, the Syracuse goalie, was the difference maker. He had 15 saves. And Matthew Nunez, who played for UVA, also had a strong game with 15 saves as well. If you remember from the video last week, Matthew Nunez was actually taken out of the game after the first half when they played Duke. Syracuse won the battle at the faceoff X, winning 21 out of 39 attempts. Mason Kahn, the former Tufts player, finished 14 wins out of 24 attempts, and John Mullen also grabbed 7 out of 14. Here's another fun fact. The 6-goal run that Syracuse went on from the first quarter to the start of the second quarter was the 8th occasion this season that the Syracuse Orange have scored 6 or more consecutive goals in a game. That's incredible. Syracuse record right now is 11-4. Syracuse is waiting to see who they'll play in the ACC championship. The semifinal rounds begins on Friday, May 3rd in Charlotte, North Carolina. UVA's loss on Saturday marked the first time since 2017 that Virginia has lost 2 consecutive games in a row. With the win, Syracuse evened the all-time series between these two teams, which began their battles in 1938. They both have 21 wins. That's pretty incredible. And it doesn't get any easier for UVA. Their next matchup is they host Notre Dame, who's 9-1, number 1 in the country, 3-0 in the ACC. They play them this Saturday. And it's a rematch of the 2023 NCAA Final Four game, the semifinals.